We warmly welcome Susan Pappas, the Director and CEO of the Ryan Pappas Memorial Foundation, to TALTalks. The Foundation's mission, born out of a tragic loss, has become a beacon of hope and change. In a time when the challenges facing high school students are more complex than ever, initiatives like the Ryan Pappas Memorial Foundation are vital. By providing safe and sober activities and imparting critical information on drugs and alcohol, they equip teens with the knowledge and alternatives they need to make informed choices. The Real Alternatives to Drugs and Drinking program, initiated by the Foundation, not only keeps students safe but also reshapes the culture of substance use prevalent in many high schools. It is a testament to the power of grassroots efforts in creating lasting change. Susan Pappas and the Ryan Pappas Memorial Foundation inspire us all to prioritize the well-being and safety of our youth. Join us in appreciating their commitment to a brighter, healthier future for high school students everywhere.
The title of the foundation gives you quite a bit of information about what my talk is going to be on today and about what our journey has been. I'm going to start by telling you I come to you as a parent, and my children are my inspiration. So my son Ryan and my son Brandon, when they were going into middle school and high school, I made the decision to move to Colorado to put them in a better school system. My husband was working for Los Alamos National Laboratory at that time, and he stayed back in New Mexico, but we moved here to give them more opportunities. And it was a great move. I have to tell you, my kids thrived here. From the first day that they started schools, they came back and they said, "Mom, we don't know anyone, but we love it." So it was a great move. As a matter of fact, in 2014, Ryan was starting his senior year of high school, which I wasn't sure we were going to get to, and he was planning on playing college ball. He was really working hard towards getting his grades up and moving on to the next things. On August 29th of 2014, Ryan turned 18. And I have to tell you, as a mother, I gave myself a pat on the back. And I thought, I made it. We did it. Here we are. 3 days later, Ryan was killed in a car crash as a result of getting in the car with a drunk driver. It was the first weekend. I'm sorry, this never gets any easier for me to say, so I'll get through this and then I'll be able to move on. It was the first weekend he ever attended a high school party. Prior to that weekend, Ryan had a group of friends that would come to the house every Friday night, and they would have Friendship Friday. And they just hung out together. However, we know our young people. They're curious as to what everyone else is doing. And so I, as a mother, gave them all the information that they needed, but I always knew that there was going to be the possibility of something different. After Ryan died in a car crash, I thought, what else could I have done? What else could I have said? He went through the programs at schools. We talked about not getting into the car with a drunk driver, calling me if you ever need a ride. The best thing is to not be there because there is guilt by association. We know that for a fact, the increase in exposure increases the chances of our young people trying substances. So I had all of these talks with my boys. And it came to me, the only thing I could have done different was maybe show him a way. They hear talk, but how can I show them a different way? And so I said to my younger son, Brandon, I asked him, if we were to provide safe and sober activities, other activities that kids could go to, do you think they would go? And he said, I don't know, Mom, but we at least have to try. So that was our next step, was providing opportunities for our students to gather in places that didn't have drugs and alcohol. And so when we founded our foundation, our mission was to provide the safe and sober activities and then to provide information, because we also know that as our kids get older, they start to get their information from their peers. And if their peers are saying, there's nothing that goes on that's wrong, that everyone's okay, nobody ever gets hurt, smoking pot is not that big a deal, a couple drinks doesn't matter. If we empower our youth with real information and let them share that with each other, then we can have some more impact, because they're going to listen to their friends. They're going to see what can happen. So how did we start that? We started with one activity. I went to the high schools and I talked to the principals and I said, well, what do you think if we did this? And they both were skeptical, the two high schools, like not sure if that's going to happen. I went to the Y and I said, what do you think? And they said, well, we tried to provide high school programming and it hasn't really worked, but if you can come up with something else. So then what did I do? I went to the students. And I said, what would it take for you to not go to a party on Friday night? What would it take for you to influence your friends? And so they gave me a little bit of a list. They said, well, you know, it has to be free. I said, all right, I can make that happen. They said, well, you know, there needs to be food. I said, I can make that happen. And they said, and you know, you can't plan it because it will be really lame. So what did I do? I said, okay, you plan it. So my son Brandon started to get with other students, and they started to plan what would a great activity look like. Our first event we offered in the spring of 2015, and over 300 students showed up.
Wow.
And after that, the week after that, they were asking Brandon, when are we going to do that again? So, what did we do? We decided that in order to make that happen, and it not be planned by just Brandon or me, because it would be lame, we were going to bring in a group of students, and we were going to build a sense of community for those students to offer the Safe and Sober programs for their peers. So we brought in a professional to help with the team building, to help them develop a mission statement and a vision. So this is the mission statement that the students came up with. And they wanted it to stand for sobriety. I thought that was such a mature word for them. Sobriety in a fun and pressure-free environment. No judgment. If you were at a party last weekend, we don't care. We just want you here this weekend. That was their whole mission, was to get each other to be in those places that were safe. We know that RAD depends on the students. Because if I open the door to an activity, I might get some students sometimes. But if students plan things for their peers, they have more influence to get them there. And so our students lead the program. They are the program. And we've had phenomenal leadership throughout. We have had the team captains from soccer. Up there we have soccer, we have basketball, we have female basketball, we have lacrosse. And it's not just that, we have the kids said there needs to be more than just one activity. You need to meet the needs of a lot of people there. So we have physical activities going on, we have art going on, we have video games going on, all on this Friday night in one space to give them a safe place. Our students believe in the power of positive peer influence. Once again, no judgment, but let me show you the way. They put their words into action. So I'm listening to everything that everyone has presented today, and I think these kids have gotten that. They are capitalizing on stepping into this space to make an impact and take on the role of doing what they need to do, not just saying things. I thought that this was a really great quote on leadership about leaving better, leaving places better, and leaving people better. And I really believe that that is what our students do. They lead through example, they plan, they organize, they do all of the work. The adults support them. This is not a program by adults put on for students. It's a student program supported by the adults in our community. It's supported by our community. They educate each other. So if we give them information that's really factual, they do the educating. They will talk, we'll talk to one another about what the risk is. They get involved. They also get involved in the community. And I think that that's really important in developing the relationship of the community coming to support them in their efforts by them getting out then and being a responsible partner and person in the community. So here are some of the events that we have seen with our RAD kids, and I think these are all kind of fun. We still kind of call them, my son and I, Friendship Fridays. This was the list that they gave us. Prior to the pandemic, 2019, we were at the point that we were holding events every Friday night and having 200 to 300 kids show up every single Friday night. So if you don't tell me you can't tell me that's not having an impact. And we were starting to collect data on that, on the number of repeats that we were seeing. Over 60% of the students were coming almost every single Friday night. So I know that they weren't going someplace else, and they were sharing the message. They told me they wanted safe places to hang out. We were able to put in a big fire pit in the back of the YMCA that we partnered with to hold the events, so they'd have places just to sit around and socialize. They wanted to do bonfires, so we settled on the fire pit because it's a little safer. Pumpkin carving. I have a farm in Pueblo that will donate 200 to 300 pumpkins. Our leaders go out and pick them. A lot of them had never picked a pumpkin before. So that was fun for them too. They got to get out and do that. Any that are left over, then we donate to the community for other things. Cocoa and Canvas. We have a group of kids that love the art aspect. We'll have some of them playing basketball, football, volleyball, and another group doing art in another room. We just get a local artist to come and guide them on that. Gingerbread dodgeball, that's a big one. We always get a lot of people from dodgeball, and every sort, like they have their outfits going and everything. And so it's from all realms, it's a great way to get them to interact and build that sense of community. They came up with a Quidditch game. So they have something for everyone. A time of year that we find that there is a lot of risk, obviously, is around graduation. So we offer a RAD party as an alternative on the graduation weekend for the kids to go, young adults to go, and have a safe place. We go all out on these kind of things. So I just want to play this video really quick from my son. So do I handle that, or do you guys?
What's so amazing, what's so important about it is having my support, having my family and my friends. When we all had this idea to form a program for students that allowed everybody to feel like there was something they could be a part of and something that they could do every single Friday night, and that's what it's gotten to, and seeing it progress from there has been a truly amazing thing. it's something I definitely want to continue to see. And everybody I know who's been to a RAD event or been a part of the RAD leadership team or just come to an event here, it's one of those amazing things where you can see it kind of change who they are. And so I just want to see this continue to make such an impact in people's lives because of the things that it did for me and the things that it did for my life, my family, and my friends.
Our students are changing the narrative of what it is to have fun in high school. Whoops. Since our first program, we've seen over 22,000 students pass through our door to come to a RAD event on Friday nights. And for the last couple of years, we've only been able to do it once a month, or now we're back up to twice a month, and we're seeing 150, 200 students coming once again. So what would it take to do a RAD event in your community? First, our students. You bring them together. You get them to establish their why. Why is this important, right? Come up with the mission statement, build your team, and give them the power to do it. Then you share the vision with the community. And we found the schools are obviously essential also for us to be able to go into the school and work with the students because they advertise through the schools. They build their clubs through the schools. And so we work with the schools as well. And we have done events with the police department to help build those relationships, the fire department. The police department actually brought in a dunk tank. The 7-Eleven sponsored a Slurpee with a cop knife. So building those relationships so that our students also know that the community cares about them and that they are part of that community. Then our students give back by being involved in the police do a gift drive at Christmas time, and our students go and help with that. They help with the float, they help give out the gifts, etc. So the students are our number one thing. Our foundation has always planned on providing the model for other communities to do this. And I know that the more places that I go, the more I hear people say, we need something like that. I said, you can do it. There's nothing absolutely unique about this group of students other than that they care. And they want to do this for their friends. So any community can do this. What do? You find a place, a community center or YMCA, something, a place that can hold the activities. We actually had the ice rink also come to us and say, when you want to use the ice, let us know, and our kids go skating for free. So they'll open up the ice rink for us on some Friday nights. We have companies that sponsor events. We have donors of all sorts, small foundations to big companies that allow the events to be run and allow them to remain free for all of our students. And then obviously we have a teacher sponsor in the schools, but the school district is really important in providing them the space to also have their groups to build the teams. I want to say one really neat thing about this is the way that the students have evolved as they have grown into these leadership roles. They came to realize that they couldn't walk on both sides of the street, go to a party on one night, and the next week say that they're going to be a RAD leader. They came up with a code of ethics of how they needed to be or present themselves to be a RAD leader. And one of them is that they will not participate in the party culture in school. They're not judging, but they want to actually show people another way of what real fun is all about. If you want more information on how to get something like this started in your community, we would love to see it grow. We have spent a lot of time trying to make sure that we have a good model so that we can present it to another community. And that is what we had spent our time doing up until the pandemic, and now we're in this rebuilding phase. But we would love to see other communities be able to embrace this. I just want to really quick provide some facts for anyone who thinks that it couldn't happen to them. Statistically, it never should have happened to our family, given that Ryan had never gone before. But that is where we ended up. So you need to tell 4,300 parents worth that it can't happen to you, but it does. We know that the younger people start to drink, the more likely it is that they will have a problem with alcohol or drugs even as they get older. We know that a group influences that you're more likely to be exposed and try things in group settings. There are long-term consequences to both marijuana and alcohol use. And this was just not that long ago, with marijuana being made legal here in Colorado, and a lot of people thinking that now that it's legal, it can't be risky, that we're seeing that crisis in the teen mental health. One more side note is that one of the things that we've seen in RAD is that as our students come in, their phones go down. Their phones go away and relationships are happening. They're connecting with one another. We do provide that safe place, not that there's never any conflict. We've had to address things, but we are working through them with our students, with our parents, with our community, and providing them that. So thank you so much for your time today.